Welcome back. You're watching 2015, The Twists and Turns. We're bringing it to you live on Channels Television. Do remember that you can find all our top stories on our website. It's channelstv.com and on youtube.com/channelsweb. Visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS, and Windows phones from their respective stores.
And we'd also like to know how you're ushering in the year 2016 through our Eyewitness feature in the Channels TV app on the Android, iOS and Windows platforms. To share your selfies or videos with us, tap the application on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu and follow the instructions you find there to share. The hashtag is 2015 last pics. You can also tweet at Gimba003 and at Emana Amawe.
President Buhari's war on corruption specifically targeted the rot in the nation's oil sector. Before he assumed office, one of the major controversies under the Jonathan administration was the matter of the $20 billion of the nation's oil funds that allegedly vanished into thin air. The whistle was first blown on the missing funds in 2013 by then President of the Central Bank, then Governor of the Central Bank, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi. On April the 27th, President Goodluck Jonathan ordered the release of the full report of the PricewaterhouseCoopers forensic audit of the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) accounts to the public. In taking the decision to make the report public, the presidency said Dr. Jonathan was deeply concerned by the suggestions that his administration had something to do with the alleged missing $20 billion.
And when he finally took over, President Buhari began moves to reposition the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation with the dissolution of the State Oil Companies Board. The president had vowed to tackle corruption and block oil leakages in the nation's economy, with the NNPC believed to be a major drain pipe. An independent audit was commissioned by the administration of former President Goodluck Jonathan in 2014, and it had concluded that the NNPC is to pay $1.4 billion to the federal government. However, the allegation of the missing $20 billion and the claims of malpractice in the oil sector cast a shadow on the general operations of the NNPC, prompting the president's decision to focus attention in that direction.
One of the principal actors in the government profligacy controversy was former Minister of Finance, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Under pressure from the Governors Forum to explain how the federal government expended $20 million, she sent the heat back to them. Dr. Okonjo-Iweala asked the governors to tell the nation what they had done with 2.92 trillion naira from the excess crude accounts given to them between 2011 and 2014. The figures showed that they collectively received 966.6 billion naira in 2011, 816.3 billion in 2012, 859.4 billion naira in 2013, and 282.8 billion naira in 2014.
And on December the 22nd, President Muhammadu Buhari presented the 2016 budget to a joint session of the National Assembly. The lawmakers said afterwards that the 6.08 trillion naira appropriation bill would revive the economy and address the concerns of the citizens. Some of the lawmakers also believe the budget is implementable. The Minister of Budget and National Planning assured Nigerians that the executive would ensure the budget is fully implemented.
It's the first full budget of this administration, and expectedly, nothing is left to chance. The proposal had been sent to the National Assembly and several meetings held between the lawmakers and the executive to iron out the grey areas. On D-Day, however, it's a full house as the lawmakers from both chambers as well as the ministers filled up every available space. At exactly 10 o'clock, the president walks in with some of his aides, and that signifies the beginning of the business of the day. Senate President Dr. Bukola Saraki sets the tone by aligning the lawmakers with the wishes and aspirations of Nigerians. He promises a speedy passage of the budget.
On the budget, we are willing and ready to provide the scrutiny necessary to pass only a budget that can be implemented comprehensively. We are ready to move swiftly and speedily to pass the 2016 appropriation bill, the swift passage of medium-term expenditure framework, and the fiscal strategic paper already points to our commitment and our resolve towards this.
President Buhari, in a speech that lasted about 30 minutes, summarizes his administration's spending plans for the year 2016. And it's one with a lot of firsts. Capital expenditure is up by 9% for the first time in several years. Increased credit to women and the introduction of welfare programs are just some of the areas the president touched in his speech.
As we focus on inclusive growth, we are conscious of the current rate of unemployment and underemployment. This is a challenge we are determined to meet, as this budget is a platform for putting more Nigerians to work. I can assure you that this administration will have a job creation focus in every aspect of the execution of this budget. Nigeria's job creation drive will be private sector-led. We will encourage this by a reduction in tax rates for smaller businesses, as well as subsidized funding for priority sectors such as agriculture and solid minerals. As an emergency measure to address the chronic shortage of teachers in public schools across the country, we also will partner with state and local governments to recruit, train, and deploy.
Really, what the issues are. If you followed what discussions recently, the Americans were up in arms against the Chinese because they were trying to devalue their currency. Why? Because they are competing out there in the marketplace. And you know that once the Chinese devalue, then they're going to have an advantage in terms of market share. And so, but in Nigeria, why do you want to devalue? So you devalue your currency, and what do you export? Your major export is oil. And so this oil is denominated in the hard currency. So what you don't have any advantage immediately accruing to you. And so what you do when you devalue is that you import inflation. You lose productivity, you lose employment, you export jobs and everything.
And how can the Naira then be revalued? How can the Naira be strengthened?
Well, you see, it's for us, the concern is not really strengthening the value of the Naira, is not the issue. What's most important for most business people is having some stability. So I want to buy macroeconomic stability. I want to make sure that between one business around another one, I've been in a position to predict that what it's going to cost me. It's not the rate.
Doesn't that suggest to you that devaluing the Naira is an easy way of getting the budget funded?
Well, then, if I see, but then what's the essence of running the economy? It's not running the economy, is that you are thinking about the quality of life of your people. Now, what happens is that once you devalue the Naira, like people have said, for instance, we should allow the market forces to devalue the Naira. And I've said to some people that we don't have a market in foreign exchange in this country. We don't. We don't have a market in dollars. What market you have is that the dollar comes from one source, and that source is central bank. And so you can have a market where one person is the dominant supplier, and every other person is trying to get on this. If you leave the market Naira to float, it will go to 300, 400, 400. And the misery in this land would increase. And so I listen to people. Yes, we are concerned about the external sector. We are concerned about the fundamentals. We are concerned about attracting. People are waiting and saying, look, they're going to devalue, and so the devalue will come in, and they will bring in foreign investors who come in, and so on and so forth. But then you see what will happen is this. I tell you, the psychology of the market. By the time you devalue, they'll feel that you're not ready. You're going to devalue again. And so there's something like waiting, anticipation to say, look, the value are going to wait. They're not just coming to rushing. And those who are proposing and pushing that we should devalue this currency, they are more concerned about the external sector. This government, this administration of central bank, they devalued by more than 22%. So we're not saying that you don't. You can throw it into your basket of policies. What you want to do. But you don't come and say, look, people are pushing devaluation as if it's the panacea. It isn't.
Okay, and
One thing we're faced with in this country, apart from the dwindling oil prices, we're having a situation of fuel scarcity in Nigeria. We're also looking at a depreciated Naira. And all this culminates into getting the funds that the state needs to run. What happens in a situation where the oil revenues drop even lower? It's selling at about $38 per barrel now. If it goes lower, then where then does the fate of the states lie?
Well, you mean to say that the subnational governments?
Yes, the state governments.
Let me say first of all that I think that we have some issues in the sense that we have the Fiscal Responsibility Act, and this Fiscal Responsibility Act is supposed to be applied across board, and to a large extent, and that's an act that's approved in 2007, and this act is supposed to tell you to dictate how we're going to manage our economy. So it says about medium-term expenditure framework. It talks about fiscal policy strategy paper. It talks about your budget and how things are going to be organized. And when we did the bailout, which was an unusual development, I did a paper in which I just suggest that really beyond the bailout. I think that bailout, and that was spot on. I was saying I said to us that you put on this bailout, then what happens subsequently? So you paid backlog of salaries that are outstanding. After that, what next? And so essentially what this means we have to do is that we have to get our act together and begin to manage ourselves better. So the former profligacy, whereby the money comes and then it's been spent, cannot go on anymore. Right? So that's an issue. So in the oil market, as it's been predicted, it's going to, it goes to 20. I think that, like I did say, if you look at oil countries, about 800 and something billion now, out of the revenue we're expecting, we're expecting about 1.4, 1.5 from non-oil and other sources. And so oil is negligible. And so what happens is it dwindles, then we'll still go and we'll just go and borrow some money. And then, let me tell you, I'll give an example. When Barack Obama, President of America, came on stage, 2008, the state of Nigerian American economy was much worse than what it is today in Nigeria. What did he do? He borrowed, and refused to allow companies to go under, except those ones that have been destined to go, like the mortgage institutions. And he refused. He gave handouts. And then they are all today thriving. The economy is back. So when you are challenged, then you borrow yourself out. This is a sovereign country,
Okay, let's go back to the 2016 budget.
I'm afraid that we're going to have to stop it at this point.
Okay.
We're running out of time, really. Dr. Boniface Chizia, the business analyst, want to thank you so much indeed. We appreciate your time anytime you come on any of our shows. It was a good 2015 for you, and it was good for us as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Janice, for having me. Yes.
All right. One of the salient points that we had in 2015 concerning Channels Television was on August 24th, 2015. It was another date to remember for Channels Television. That was the day the United Nations Secretary General, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, presented the documents of the agreements on broadcast partnership between Channels Television and the United Nations Department of Public Information, the DPI.
The UN scribe told the chairman, CEO of Channels Television, Mr. John Momoh, that the UN expects a strict adherence to the content of the deal. In his response, Mr. Momoh gave assurances that Channels Television would align with the maxim at the UN website, which reads, and I quote, "We got it all covered," end of quote. A group photograph of both parties concludes the event.
Mr. John Momoh, it's a great pleasure for me to deliver a very important project which have been discussing and agreed between the Department of Public Information of the United Nations and the Channels Television. And I hope that through this joint project, we will be able to convey the good messages to many people around the world. I hope also that the UN TV will be able to have a good cooperation with the Channels TV. And I wish you all the best. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure. Thank you. Just want to say, Secretary General, that I'm very delighted. On behalf of Channels TV, I'd like to thank you and the United Nations and all those who have taken part in making sure that the MOU came about.
We're very, very, very happy to be in this partnership, and rest assured that we will be aligned with the maxim that you have on the website, which says we've got it all covered. That's by the United Nations. Channels has got it all covered for you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And it is one achievement after another for Channels Television all the way in 2015. Kudos to the staff and, of course, the chairman.
And even the viewers, our teeming viewers. Without you, we wouldn't have, who would watch us if we didn't have the viewers? We capped it up by ending the year with the Decima Award, 10-time winner of the Best TV Station of the Year.
We're going to have that story up much later. Stay with us. This is 2015, the twists and turns.